So let's jump right in. When you think of a commercial bank, you probably just picture a place to deposit your paycheck, open a savings account, or maybe get a loan to buy a car or a house. And I mean, you'd be absolutely right. Those are definitely the primary functions. But stopping there is kind of like using a modern smartphone, literally just to make phone calls. Today, we're looking way beyond those basic deposits and loans to discover the incredible, often totally invisible bonus tools that banks actually offer. Because, as you'll see, commercial banks are really the hidden Swiss Army knife of our modern economy, fully equipped with tools for almost any financial situation you can think of.
And that brings us to a really fascinating question we need to ask. What else do banks actually do? I want you to think for a second about what happens behind the scenes of your local bank branch. Because beyond the tellers handling cash and the loan officers reviewing all that paperwork, there is this whole ecosystem of services quietly running in the background. These services are specifically designed to make life easier and safer for everyday people, to solve massive logistical problems for businesses, and honestly, even to keep international trade flowing smoothly.
All right, let's dive into this. If we look at the chart right here, drawn straight from our source material, you'll see that beyond the standard primary and agency functions, we are zeroing in specifically on this box, General Utility Functions. This is where the real magic happens, folks. This section outlines all these amazing extra services banks provide for the benefit of their clients. We're going to break these utility tools down into three main areas throughout this explainer, starting with how they actually help you and me on a personal, everyday level.
So, Section 1, Everyday Safety and Travel.
Let's look at how these general utility functions step right in to solve very real personal problems on a daily basis. And we'll start with our first tool, locker facilities. Imagine you've got a collection of your family's precious gold jewelry, maybe some inherited heirlooms, or highly sensitive, completely irreplaceable legal documents. Keeping those tucked away in a desk drawer or, stuffed under your mattress at home, that isn't exactly a foolproof security plan against fire or theft. Well, banks solve this exact problem by providing physical locker facilities. They basically offer you a secure, highly protected mini vault right inside their own massive vaults for the safe custody of your valuables. It's a simple physical utility, but man, does it offer immense peace of mind.
Next up, let's talk about the check system. Notice the stark difference between these two types of checks here. On one side, you've got a bearer check. This type is encashable immediately, right over the counter by whoever happens to be holding it at the bank. If you drop a bearer check on the sidewalk, literally anyone could potentially pick it up and cash it. It's incredibly risky. But then consider the crossed check. This brilliantly illustrates a really simple but incredibly powerful security feature. A crossed check is literally just a regular check that has two parallel lines drawn on the top left corner. Because of those two lines, it absolutely cannot be cashed over the counter immediately. It must be deposited directly into the payee's bank account. Those two little lines completely protect your money from theft.
And hey, speaking of protection, what about when you go on a big vacation? Carrying huge wads of cash in a foreign place is just a terrible, stress-inducing idea. Enter traveler's checks. Think of these as a safe travel cheat code. The bank provides these to customers so they can travel fearlessly. If you lose a pile of cash, well, it's gone forever. But if you use this facility provided by the bank, you absolutely do not need to take the risk of carrying cash with you on your journey. It is just one more way the bank's utility functions act as a personal safety net.
Moving right along to Section 2, Powering Business and Trade.
So now we're moving away from personal, everyday uses to see how these exact same bank tools act as a powerful engine for commerce, solving these massive logistical and trust problems for businesses both big and small. Let's look at a classic business problem. Let's say a business owner wants to send a huge, expensive shipment of goods to a retailer far away. How does the seller ensure they actually get paid, and how does the buyer ensure the goods aren't released to the wrong person? Well, the bank steps in as the secure middleman using a railway receipt system. It works like this. The seller consigns the goods via the railway, but instead of sending the claim ticket straight to the buyer, they send the railway receipt directly to the bank. The retailer then goes to the bank and pays for the consignment. Only after that payment is actually made does the bank hand over the receipt, allowing the retailer to successfully claim their items at the railway goods office. Boom! The bank guarantees the seller gets paid and the buyer gets their goods.
But wait, what if a seller needs to trust a new buyer before they even start putting goods on a train? That is exactly where the letter of credit comes in. A letter of credit is simply a document issued by a bank certifying the credibility of its customers. So the crucial point here is that the bank is officially vouching for a business's trustworthiness. If a highly respected bank issues a letter saying, yes, this business is good for the money, other businesses will confidently and safely trade with them, entirely based on the bank's word. It's a real game changer for building business relationships.
Now, another massive utility for businesses, and even governments, is underwriting securities. When a company wants to raise money to grow by selling shares, they face a huge risk. I mean, what if nobody buys them? Commercial banks solve this by underwriting the issue. This means the bank essentially provides a safety net. They guarantee the sale of these securities. And why does this work so effectively? It's simple, really, because the public has full faith in banks. If a trusted commercial bank is backing the securities, people will not hesitate to invest and buy them. The bank's reputation is quite literally powering corporate growth.
Finally, let's hit Section 3, the big economic picture.
Okay, we've seen how banks help everyday individuals secure their valuables, and we've seen how they act as middlemen and guarantors for businesses. Now, let's zoom way out to see how this powers international economies. Global trade simply wouldn't be possible without dealing in foreign exchange. When a business in one country buys from another, they're dealing with entirely different currencies. So who handles that headache? Commercial banks do. They deal in the incredibly complex foreign exchange business. They finance foreign trade, and they handle accepting and collecting foreign bills of exchange. By acting as the bridge between different currencies, they completely remove the financial barriers that would otherwise stop international commerce right in its tracks.
And lastly, consider this incredibly vital yet super often overlooked function, the collection of statistics. Because so much money and trade flow directly through commercial banks every single day, they act as massive, real-time data hubs. They are perfectly positioned to gather statistics relating to trade, commerce, and industry. But they don't just secretly hoard this data. They actually publish research journals and issue bulletins containing research on economic and financial matters. This freely available data helps governments make policies, it helps businesses make plans, and it helps everyday citizens understand the true financial health of the country.
Which brings us to a crucial final thought I want to leave you with today. How would our world actually function without these invisible utility services? I mean, if you strip away the locker facilities protecting our heirlooms, the cross checks preventing theft, the letters of credit establishing business trust, and the foreign exchange systems allowing global trade to even happen, modern life would simply grind to a halt. So the next time you walk past a commercial bank or log into your banking app, remember, it's not just some giant piggy bank for deposits and loans. It is the hidden Swiss Army knife working tirelessly in the background to keep our entire society running smoothly. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and remember to always keep questioning how the world around you really works.